Hey, what's up, everybody? BDO44 coming to another video. All right, so got some Kevin Durant, Kyrie, Irving, Brooklyn Nets stuff to talk about here. Hope everybody's having a fantastic day. Welcome to the channel. Okay, so the first thing I want to say is let's go into the KD and the Atlanta Hawks trade scenario that I just read that Shams has reported, because it speaks to something very, very, very interesting that's taking place right now. The Atlanta Hawks just offered John Collins, 1 first-round pick, and DeAndre Hunter for Kevin Durant. What does that tell me? Now, first of all, it tells me that the Hawks are hilarious, and if they think they're going to get a deal like that, then it's just one of those things where you're just going to laugh at them and look away. In fact, you might not even laugh. You might just look away. That's one of those. Like, come back to me when you're serious about providing a trade request that should be taken seriously. This should not, however. It's just however to it. What if this is the beginning stages of what we now know as to be the new Kevin Durant price tag? I reacted very, very, very poorly to the Rudy Gobert trade because of a million different things, but none more so than the ridiculousness of the price tag as it pertains to what I think the players actually were. But when I start realizing that they were working into the situation other aspects, like the fact that Rudy's not demanding a trade, other aspects like the fact that inflation is in place now, so the other things around the financial market is just more inflated in general, and that's what they're trying to react to. So I wasn't taking into account the beginning stages of a new market. This go round, looking at this Hawks proposal, I'm applying that. This might be the beginning stages of what the Brooklyn Nets may have to ultimately settle for in regards to trading for Kevin Durant. I said this, when Kevin Durant decided that he was going to tell the Brooklyn Nets to fire front office personnel, he dropped his price tag dramatically, because now the person on the other end of the trade is going to say to Brooklyn, how do I know not only will he not hold out, but that he won't do that? That's going to cost you more. A move like that, to where he does that to you, I'm going to work that into the price tag when I'm negotiating, because it's not only about him leaving, it's about the disruption that he may cause in the event he becomes unhappy. Is he going to demand that I fire my best scout or my coach or this or that to keep that 4-year contract intact, just like he's doing to y'all? If for some reason he doesn't like a move, or for some reason he doesn't like a player, do I have to hastily hurry up and jump to make things happen? Or is he going to demand that I have to fire my GM in response to not being able to make a move? Like, these are things he's doing to you that there's no way I'm going to allow him to do to me. Now, the risk of him coming here, being unhappy, and then demanding out, I can measure that risk. Him coming here, being unhappy, and then doing a bunch of stuff to disrupt the front office on top of asking out is an entirely different price tag for you, Brooklyn. You got to pay for that too. And that is what I'm saying to you all. If all of the league looks at that price tag that the Hawks just offered Brooklyn and says that's fair price because of all of the things that I just said, Brooklyn is in some of the biggest trouble of any team I can remember, because now they have one of the most valuable pieces in the league, and because they didn't move it soon enough, it's worth literally nothing. Kevin Durant at that price tag is a nightmare. It's an absolute nightmare. For one, he can move to any spot in the league and turn him into a contender at that price tag. That's the problem that the league is going to run into. Now you got a super team problem. Because if they can get Kevin Durant for 1 first-round pick and 2 guys, DeAndre Hunter is a nice player, John Collins close to all-star. I think they'll both probably make an all-star team before it's over. Quality starters that will help make a real impact on both sides of the floor, I believe. I'm a believer in both of those guys, so I'm happy to bring them in. 1 first-round pick? You've got to be kidding me. 1 first-round pick, Atlanta? If that's where his price tag is, the Brooklyn Nets are going to have to not trade him, even if it goes to the detriment of all things that make sense. That's what that tells you, that nothing's going to happen. I would rather take my chances with Kevin Durant retiring than relinquish his value at that price. That's what I'm telling you. It's BDF44. I'm telling you, whatever the path leads to, It ain't going to be me trading for no John Collins, DeAndre Hunter, and 1 first-round pick or the equivalent of that anywhere in the league. I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. I'm not even advising the Nets do that as BDF 44 as a Laker fan. Hell no, Sean Marks. You do not do that, bro. I don't give a damn what the market says. I don't care what KD says, Kyrie says, BDF says, Lakers fit. No. You cannot allow a player that great to go at that price tag for any reason. Ever, in my humble opinion. I don't care if he's coming off an Achilles injury. He gonna get traded for more than that. If he's out for the season, he's getting traded for more than that. Hell no, we ain't doing that. And if that's where his price tag is across the board, which I speculate it may be, we're not gonna see a trade. Ain't gonna be no trade. No, hell no. Sean Marks would be a fool to do that. Josiah would be a fool to do that. Kevin Durant would probably laugh at a trade like that. It ain't happening. So we're in a very bad space right now, ladies and gentlemen. If you're an NBA fan and you're worried about whether or not transactions are going to be made, trust you me, I've never been more worried about whether or not transactions are going to be made, because if that's what the Hawks are offering and that's what everybody else is offering, you ain't going to see no deal. Not only are you not going to see the Kevin Durant deal, but you're not going to see the Donovan Mitchell deal either. The Knicks have already told the Utah Jazz and everybody else that 7-pick price tag that they're asking for Donovan Mitchell, the Knicks aren't going for that. Congratulations, Knicks. I'm on board with you. That seems like a sound organizational decision in my opinion. You do not trade an inflated price tag on a guy whose value is already inflated off of the sheer nature of what he represents to the team that he's leaving. No. Just because he means the world to them and they need to rebuild does not mean that you pay the world for him, because he ain't going to mean that to you and you know it. So ain't no way in hell I'm paying that for Donovan Mitchell. Look, I'm going to tell you the truth. Nothing gets done. If what I'm looking at right now is going to happen, is happening the way it seems, you have a lot of bluffs that are about to take place. A lot of we're about to do it and it's not going to happen. Why? Because nobody is paying that price tag for Kevin Durant. Nobody is going to pay for that price tag for Donovan Mitchell when Kevin Durant is going for that price tag as well. And that's something we need to understand. Trade requests, demands be damned. No way Donovan Mitchell goes for that much of a difference than Kevin Durant. Even in the presence of all of these different things. Kyrie, everything. That still should not equate to Donovan Mitchell being more valuable than Kevin Durant. No. If it does, then the market itself is broken completely. Leverage should not be able to break you down to be able to acquire Kevin Durant for that little of a price while still Donovan Mitchell going for that price tag. At some point in time, the market has to look at itself and say, nah, we're giving stuff away for free. If the object of the game is to sell goods, we've lost sight of what we're doing. So that's what I see there, man. And that's why I say the system doesn't work, dude. The NBA needs to understand that they are in a totally different world. You need deeper teams, to succeed in this league. And it's harder to build depth when you have a cap like this. When your system is set up this way, it's hard to build what you need to compete. So that's what we're looking at here, man. We're looking at all kinds of very, very uncomfortable adjustments to a system that no longer works. And we're at a stalemate because we've reached that space where you can't move without giving up value that you should not be forced to give up. The flaw in the system has reached its space where you meet that flaw. And so that's what we're looking at. Now, because all of this is going on, the second point that I come here to make or the second thing that I'm here to report, rather, is that the Brooklyn Nets are telling the Los Angeles Lakers that they're not looking to trade Kyrie Irving before the start of the season. That fully in line with everything that we've already talked about. This is just byproduct of that. And as we've said over 706 times on this channel, it makes no sense for the Brooklyn Nets to move Kyrie Irving if Kevin Durant's still on the roster, given the fact that he and Kyrie Irving are obviously tied together, and you want to make sure that he, being Kyrie Irving, is not a piece that must remain in order for the possibility of KD to come back. So you don't want to give away anything that would otherwise give you an opportunity to settle your problems. And so that's what would happen if they traded Kyrie Irving to the Lakers for the price tag that we are offering right now. 2 first-round picks for Kyrie Irving in this market. It ain't going to be fair for the Nets, given the fact they're going to have to give Kevin Durant away for pennies on the dollar. So, as I said, if I'm the Nets, I'm not making any moves in this climate. If I'm the Nets, I'm not coming off of my square at where we're at. Everybody's going to start the season if I'm on the other side of this thing, because of everything that's just been said. There's no way we're doing that. There's no way. No one should do that. I don't want the Lakers to pay the price tag that we're gonna have to pay for things that we have to get in this market. I don't want my team to have to relinquish stuff just because of a temporary market that's overpriced. It's like buying crypto at the top. You know what I mean? You know it's got to come back down or retrace at least some in a good portion of situations. It would be best to kind of just, figure out what's the best way to go from the technicals. And so I would say play it the same way here. So that's how I'm looking at the situation, man. I want the Lakers to just not really react too much to what is not possible right now. You know what I mean? Don't make the indie move. I look at this situation like I look at some other things. If you're going to be removed from a situation, you weren't there. You can say you're missing certain things, right? You weren't there to be there. You weren't meant to be there. It's not for you to be there. Certain things just have to fall into place, and I believe when it's time for Kyrie to be a Laker, be a Laker. When it's time for our team to be complete, it'll fall in line. We're not missing anything is what I'm trying to say. Nobody's moving. Now, if everybody was moving and we're not moving, different dynamic. But you're not missing nothing. You know what I mean? Nobody's moving, so nobody's missing anything. Nobody's behind the 8 ball. We all are going to move at the same time. So if our team is at a disadvantage, their team is at a disadvantage, whoever that may be, and their team is at a disadvantage because nobody can move. So it's like if we're all in unison, then nothing's being done, then nothing's changing, nothing needs to be reacted to, nobody needs to panic. There's no advantage. You know what I mean? Everybody's in the same space that they otherwise would have been. And so as long as we can't scoot ahead of one another in terms of transactions, then the market will just be steady as the season starts. And then moves that would have otherwise been made will just take places after the season starts, like I predicted anyway. And look, this is what it's about. I believe that teams need to lay eyes on their prospects. That's all it is. They need to be able to see guys run around so that they can put a definite price tag on some of these hypothetical players. Paolo Banchero in our mind right now, probably MVP candidate, average 30 points. Until he plays and gives us actual sample size, we can inflate him to wherever you can call him LeBron James and believe yourself. Chet Holmgren right now, in some people's eyes, is like the next coming of Kristaps Porzingis Part 2. And he probably is. But what I'm saying is, right now, you expect he's going to be Porzingis in some people's eyes. Until he gets out there and is an actual rookie, misses a couple shots, loses a game or two, then you bring him down to say, okay, well, this is where he's at, this is where he's going, and this is what we're happy about. Even Evan Mobley last year. Evan Mobley was amazing, still is amazing. But before the season started, he's Anthony Davis. He's going to be Anthony Davis. You value him as such. After the season started, can't wait till he turns into Anthony Davis, but he's not going for that type of price tag. And that's what I'm telling you. It's like the price tag on all these hypotheticals, all these youngsters, they're going to fall in line once you see them. But it doesn't fall in line necessarily. It's just the beginning. It's like the beginning of a stock market day. You know what I mean? The stock begins and then it fluctuates from there. So it's like there's no set value to any player. And that's why it's important that you see them run so that value fluctuation process can begin. Until you see them run, it's stuck way up, and that's impossible to move. So that's why the stall, y'all. That's why the stall. Nobody's seeing their players. And if I can't see what my rookie looks like and I'm going to value him all the way to the top, then how the hell can I possibly move him for some of these big pieces? How can I move the pieces around him, valuing those pieces properly? It's just impossible to do. You know what I mean? And if you're trying to build properly, it's not about making the move quickly. It's about making the right move that slots into both your cap and your basketball situation. Can't evaluate both if I don't have the price tag on everything. So that's why all of this looks so clear to me. Nothing's going to happen before the start of the season because of that dynamic. And I've been telling you guys that for about 2 months now. So nothing's changed. The only thing that would make that change is if players traded hypotheticals, which would otherwise be not max contracts, but contracts in multiple years. Because it's not about the valuation of the talent itself. It's about the valuation of the contract and how it slips into the cap. So even if the guy don't fit on the basketball team, you're still willing to move him because you know exactly what he fits on your cap and that's what you're focused on. So those are the only type of moves I would otherwise expect to see. Bogdanovich's, Mike Conley's, contracts like that can be moved in a market where other guys aren't playing. But the key guys, the ones that you really want, the value guys on the rookie contracts, and the guys that are ultimately going to be the meat and potatoes of what the value is of these trades, can't evaluate it yet. Don't know what I have. So, yeah, that is important. That's why Kyrie ain't going to be a Laker until the beginning of the season. That's why. So, yeah, man, it's just a crappy offseason. This has been the worst offseason since the internet's been on, to be honest with you. Since the internet has been on, I don't remember an offseason as bad, because there's never been a situation where you don't have a lockout, but you do have teams that can't make transactions. So it's like a whole lot of nothing for long periods of time while the rumors continue to pile on. It's just unnecessary. I would have much rather had no rumors and no news, rather to be anticipating something all off season and not getting anything of that sort. So yeah, I just think the NBA kind of learned from that. It's one thing to have people talking about the NBA and anticipating the NBA, but what you end up creating is the drag out process. It's a fatigue that you create in the minds of people when they're sitting there anticipating something and it doesn't come. You're not creating an anticipation that it's good. You're creating I'm tired of you now. Now you ain't delivering. Now it looks like you're just trying to gas me up, but to not give me the meat and potatoes. So it's like they need to find a balance there. They can't let this happen again, because this is going to create a situation where people are sighing when the NBA come on. Like, oh, here, them again. Here we go. Oh, who's going to move where? That's actually not going there. It's that kind of thing. It's like they need to be very careful to find a balance. So that's where I'm at. That's what I see. Nothing special other than price tags continuing to be hypotheticals and ultimately not anyone having the confidence to move them because of it. So that's what it is. My name is BDL44. I thank you all for watching. I'm out.